Well, we're coming to the end of the school year and it's summer, like hooray! I just think of all the great things that we can do over summer. But I know for some people that there is that concern and that worry about, their students, their children falling behind again, we've had these gains, and especially in light of a really crazy year of in and out of school and having to do virtual learning. And I get that. That is a legitimate concern. And I want to look at that today. I want to look at, learning at home, scholastic endeavors at home, and this summer slide, this summer loss. Do we really need to worry about it? Hi, and welcome to Learning Life. I am Michaela, and it is great to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for watching and for the subscribes and the likes and the comments. Keep it up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Well, summertime. The living is easy. We think about swimming. We think about hopefully getting out and doing family trips. Yes, this last year has just absolutely been crazy. We've had our poor kids in and out of school. Some of them never even made it back into a school building. They did an entire year of virtual learning. Others were in and out and at home and at school and online and here, there, and everywhere. And I get these fears that our children are just falling behind. But you know what? I think that children are resilient. And I think we can actually probably have them out of school for an entire year and really doing nothing, and they will still pick things up again and gain that momentum and keep moving forward. But we hear these terms often about like summer slide or summer loss. And I know for some people that it is a legitimate sort of worry and concern for their children. Now, studies have been done over the years at looking at this. And yes, it has been documented that there can be around a 20% sort of loss in gain over a summer break. And that has been a great concern to some people. But a lot of these studies were done back when summer breaks were a lot longer. And many school systems are sort of changing how long their summer breaks are. So you sort of go, is it still a legitimate concern? Like, do we really have to worry about it? I was trying to find studies that show just how quickly children actually regain these losses, and I couldn't really find that. But I did see the graphs, and they all seem to just pick back up and keep going, and that is great. To me, it's telling me that they're really not losing it. It's just like it's a little pause, and then they can pick up, and as they get back into the grooves of school, things just fall back into place. So it really makes me wonder, do we have to worry about summer slide and summer loss? And I'm not dismissing anybody that is worried or concerned, especially in light of a crazy year. And I've been reading these reports of, we should be sending our children to like a summer school and doing all these summer programs, and they should have extra like summer homework and continue all of these different things to make sure, because if they've been doing virtual learning, we can't guarantee have they done enough. And I'm like, again, that is just adding so much stress. And even the thought of in a non-crazy pandemic year of adding summer school and all of these different programs, it just feels so stressful. Is this something that we need to do? I mean, are there things that we can do to prevent this summer loss? Yes, and I'll get to that. But I just have to think that we need to stop and look at it and go, what is my primary concern for my children? What is my goal for their education, for their childhood? I know children that summer hits and they're like doing additional classes like every week or every day, like it seems, like this push to just keep going. And it makes me sort of stop and go, where do they get to play and just sort of be and take time? Like, I do think that children do need to sort of de-school a little bit, to just sort of take a breather, take a break, and just enjoy and learn in a different sort of way. Now, this leads me to year-round schooling. Now, there's been proponents of this, like that we should shift and change the school system so it's more year-round. Now, growing up in Australia, I would say we did more year-round schooling. Our summer break was 6 weeks, compared to here where it's around 10 to 12 weeks. That is a considerable difference. And so we had regular terms with more frequent breaks. And I know that there are people who think that in America that this should change to this year-round schooling, shorten summer and just do regular terms with more frequent breaks. I get that. I grew up in it, so I don't see a problem with it. And I know change can sometimes be a little bit hard. Do we need it? Perhaps perhaps this would be an answer to people's concerns for summer loss and summer slide. Are there benefits to having year-round schooling? You know what? I think there are. I mean, I know as a teacher, I used to love it's 10 weeks, 2 weeks off, 10 weeks, 2 weeks off, that sort of routine. It also, I think, helps, the parents that are both having to work and that summer comes and what do they do with their children for a really extended period of time? I know in the past there were all those summer camps and everybody went off to do that. Well, we're not seeing that as much anymore. So it's like there are benefits to year-round schooling. Still the same number of days of requirements of schooling, just with more frequent breaks. I sort of like that. And maybe that is a shift that needs to be looked at and going, is this something that we can do to make sure that we are continuing appropriate gains for our children without worrying about like this gain slide, and making it looking a little bit more like a roller coaster. Now, this is also where we come to like this whole idea of like learning at home over the summer. And, I know that some people in their stress and concern about it, like wanting to busy plan like programs for their children, like every day, we've got to do X number of hours of this to make sure. And this whole learning, I love the term scholastic, which means, of concerning education. Like it's not just, the reading and the writing, but just this idea of it's all together. Can we do these things at home? Like what can we do at home to prevent this summer loss or this summer slide? And I think that it really just comes down to, I was trying to think, when in doubt, I'm like, when you're not sure, just read more. Reading is really one of the best ways to sort of prevent any sort of summer slide. Lots of reading. That is actually really easy to do. And again, if your children really aren't into the actual physical reading, there are so many great websites like Storyline Online that has people reading books for your children. So we can do that. There are different ways to sort of hear the written word as well as see and read it. So there's reading, doing hands-on activities at home. Let's do a lot more baking. Let's do even some fun sort of science experiments that aren't really presented as, we're going to do a science experiment. Getting out there, gardening, going on hikes, going on adventures, having these fun activities which really incorporate what I call like the life sort of learning, things that you can talk about and do and experience. And as well, when there is interest being shown, follow that interest. And that means taking a trip to the library and getting books about what they're suddenly interested in, then do that. Or going to the zoo or the museum or wherever that interest sort of intersects. To me, those are just some simple, easy things that we can be doing. When it comes to my thoughts on summer loss, I just think we have to take the stress and the pressure off ourselves as parents and also off our children. We can just have some fun over the summer. And I know I teach my girls differently, more in that unschooling sort of thing, that it's like we just learn as the interest goes and we pull from here and we pull from there. So to them, summer isn't going to be hugely different because we just do it all the time, like all these different activities as we're reading. Let's just write this, let's do that. I generally don't worry about summer loss. I hate the thought of summer school. I don't like homework during the school year anyhow. And I never liked having to give it as a teacher and sometimes got a little slap on the wrist for not giving enough. But I'm like, there needs to be a break. There needs to be a chance to breathe. There needs to be time to explore interests that you might not have when you've got a full academic load during the school year. So yeah, and I know this might be contrary to what some people think. And I get, again, there are legitimate concerns, especially if your child has any learning issues about this. But I think that we can all step back and take a breather and go, it's actually going to be okay. Because you know what? There might be a dip, but then there will be a gain. All the graphs are showing this. And so when we realize that it's okay to pause and take a breather, that there's going to be a gain, like this is great. And again, I'm generally not worried when you if we focus on the skills rather than like just content, you're really not going to see that dip. A lot of the dip is content based. And quite frankly, can't we research that? and find that out ourselves, like with the content. Not generally concerned. I'd be very concerned if it was all like skills-based stuff that we're dipping in, but it's really not. So let's perhaps enjoy this summer. Let's take a step back and go, you know what, we can do fun activities, but we don't have to sort of reestablish school stuff during the summer and make sure that we hit X number of hours and hit X number of activities and go through X number of workbooks. Let's take that stress off, especially after a really crazy year. But then also, let's do it every year. Let's enjoy the summer. Let's have our children just enjoy this freedom. But remember, when you're not sure, just read more. Well, thank you so much for watching today. And, if you are concerned about summer loss and you really do think that your child might need some help, please feel free to reach out to me. I do love helping with some activities and ideas or just some fun, creative ways that we can help your child maintain rather than lose. I am here for you. For me, it's not something that I'm concerned about. If it is concerning for you, I want to be there for you. So please feel free to reach out and let me help you in this, and have a wonderful summer. Now, if you like these videos, hey, do you know what? You can join us as a champion, and you can do that through Patreon. Check that out at patreon.com or my website, learningthis.life.